Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while, but I knew I need to come back on here and review Harry Styles' new album that came out about a month ago. I believe it came out like March 6th. We've got Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally. I've been really wanting to rank this, but I've been sitting with it, marinating in it, putting it on my playlist, seeing where it fits in. And I feel like I finally got a pretty comprehensive view of how I feel about the album, how I feel about the tracks. The great thing about this album is that it's a shorter track list. It kind of reminds me of Hit Me Hard and Soft. It's concise, but it does make it a little more complicated because it is an album that took Harry forever to write, and there's a reason for that. You know, it's very in-depth. It has a lot of layers to it, and so I'm excited to delve into that with you guys today. So without any further ado, let's first start by getting into our tiers. So for this tier list, I am ranking based on previous Harry Styles songs. So I have my God tier as Fine Line. I think, gosh, I can't talk about that song without just bursting into tears, especially this close to graduation. It is just a beautiful song. It really has me always reminiscing about coming of age and growing up and acceptance. And it's such a beautiful song. I think Harry just has this production about a lot of his music that really feels constantly like coming of age, because the next tier I have, As It Was, has a very similar vibe. So Fine Line, God tier, and then a tier below that is going to be As It Was, one of my absolute favorite songs. I cannot tell you the amount of playlists this is on of mine in Spotify. It's to the point where if I want to add it to a new playlist, I will click add, and then I have to scroll through all of the playlists I've already added it to just to get to other playlists. So As It Was is truly a classic, timeless Harry song, but I don't think it's as in depth, both lyrically and productionally, as Fine Line. So I have that as kind of my second tier pop banger moment. Number three is going to be Watermelon Sugar. That is a certified banger, but it's definitely not something I am digging into necessarily. So Watermelon Sugar High, like, absolutely love that song. I think it's so fun. I think it's such a great summer banger, but I don't think we're really over analyzing this song. I think it's all in good fun, but definitely not something I am feeling super, super attached to and attracted to. At tier four, I have She. I'm sorry if some of you guys get offended by this. It's definitely not one of my favorite songs. I personally think it's a little bit overrated. And so it's just going to be a song that I feel like is getting a lot of hype that I don't particularly love. And then our last rank, and I don't even know if any songs are going in this last rank, full transparency, but we have Only Angel, just not my song, right? So those are going to be songs that just aren't for me, that I don't particularly think are his best work, and I would love to see elevated versions of these songs in the future. So those are going to be the tiers we're going off of, and let's just jump into the track list with our first lead single and also album opener, Aperture. I have really been on a journey with the song. I think the first time I heard it, I was pretty confused. It's a very slow burn song, right? Like, it takes a while for that beat to kick in. I think it's a great ambassador for this album. I do think it was a good first single, but I don't think it was the best pick, in my opinion. I think there are better picks from this track list that I think could have been a little bit better. I don't want to just say better. Like, would have represented the album and what Harry's trying to do with this album a little bit better than Aperture has. Now, that being said, I do think it does follow some sort of mission statement, and I love the We Belong Together repeating itself, because that does feel like a theme throughout this album. Again, I do think this is a very coming of age album, which is weird because obviously Harry Styles is like a full-grown adult, has had multiple albums, but I do think in the interviews I've seen him talking about this, taking this 4-year kind of sabbatical from releasing songs and feeling like he's changed a lot as a person and how to reapproach music and his fan base in that way. And so I think that is more the core theme we're looking at with this album, which is why I think when he says like we belong together and talking about togetherness and really celebrating, I think our differences, I do think that's beautiful, but I don't think that's the entire sentiment of the song. I'm like going between As It Was and Watermelon Sugar tier for this one. My gut is telling me to be a little bit disciplined, so I am going to put her in Watermelon Sugar for now, subject to change later. Again, I think she's a gorgeous girl. I think she's a fun pop girly, but I don't find myself returning to Aperture that much unless I'm in the mood to get ready for a night out or something fun like that. So next we have American Girls. I think this was a great follow-up to Aperture. I think this is such a fun, Harry pop song, but as much as I've listened to the lyrics, I'm not necessarily getting a ton of depth through these lyrics. And will say I think that is part of the struggle with this album is Harry Styles. It can be a bit surface level with some of the songs. And that's not to say that some of the songs don't go super deep, but I do think I've seen a lot of criticism with Harry being a bit vague and gray with some of his lyrics and some of his songs. And I do think that is an accurate criticism of Harry, and I do see that coming out in this album. And this is one of those songs where I don't think it gets much deeper than, kind of pandering to his audience. Obviously, a lot of Harry's fans are American women, and so is this a super fun song? Absolutely. Do I intend to play this song on loop when I go study abroad? Yeah, 100%. Is this something that I'm really digging into and listening to in a ton of different contexts? Not necessarily. Again, I think this is kind of similar to Aperture in the sense of it being a song that I love to listen to if I'm going out or maybe on a run, but it's not something I'm listening to maybe on like walks and kind of thinking about what it might mean and what he's trying to tell us and kind of trying to unpack that. And so for that reason, since I think they're comparable, I'm going to put this with Watermelon Sugar as well. Paint by Numbers, I think, is the first time we get a little bit of a deeper look into Harry's psyche. But I'll be honest, first of all, this is out of order. First of all, I thought it was, and I saw Carla's song after this, and I'm like, that's weird. I guess I'm just going to leave it out of order. Okay. So Paint by Numbers is one that I haven't really found myself returning to because I do think it is a slower, more ballad-centric song, and I do think this is one of the times that we're really diving into the coming of age aspect of this album and the kind of I've left for 4 years. Are you going to be okay with who I've become? Like, can I explore different creative avenues and not lose my entire fan base? And can I evolve as an artist and not be called a poser or a liar or be criticized for branching out of what the fan base has traditionally loved from me? Like, if I don't produce another As It Was, is that going to be okay? So I think Paint by Numbers starts getting into this. I have a couple gripes with the song. Number one, I don't understand the title very much. I can see where it comes in, and I can kind of see the parallels of like staying in between the lines, I guess. But the titles on this album too are just like kind of crazy. But I don't 100% see this one. And then additionally, I just don't love the production on this one. I don't find it the best ballad on this album by far. There's one ballad on this album that I almost can't listen to, and I'm excited to get to and really delve into that one, but this is one that I find a little bit dull, and for that reason I'm going to put her into She. Carla's song, I think, is such a beautiful way to end this album. I've been really enjoying seeing all the TikTok edits to this song. It has an Aperture vibe of like celebration and togetherness and love, and I really do love that he is pushing that narrative, because I do think these last 2 years of music, we've had a lot of sad albums. I'm thinking Tortured Poets, I'm thinking Hit Me Hard and Soft. There's no other album in there that I was thinking of. I mean, Guts was a bit ago, and I think recently we've been like we're so back, right? With a little bit of Showgirl. I mean, she's a lot happier. So I do appreciate the really optimistic vibe, and it does feel like it's playing into that 2016 vibe we're going into 2026 with, because everyone's been talking about how 2026 is the new 2016, and I've been loving this vibe. 2016 was truly peak for me. I just remember watching all these Markiplier, Five Nights at Freddy's things. I was watching YouTube all the time. I graduated elementary school. I mean, Chef's Kiss, amazing year. Definitely a year I would love to go back to. So Carla's song, she is so sweet. She's so sweet. I know what you like. I know what you really like. Like, it doesn't need to be more complicated than that. And I think this is a great example of Harry being a bit vague and gray, but it working to his advantage. because it's just one of those songs where it's like, we don't need more context. Like, I just have a special place for this. So for that reason, I'm going to put her in As It Was. I don't think she's fine line. That is a very high tier. And I know there's one song I'm putting up there, but I don't know who else will be up there. Ready, Steady, Go. I like this song a lot. I think it's weird. I think the production's really weird. I think, so this is the third track. So in my opinion, this is the most disco track of the first three. And I do really love the little guitar moment in here. And again, the production just feels so new, and it feels like, okay, he's trying new things. It's very interesting. And I know I feel like I've said that like a 20 billion different ways, but Aperture and American Girls felt like Harry Styles, but like evolved a little bit. And I think Ready, Steady, Go for me, while the lyrics make absolutely no sense, it's complete nonsense. I think the best description of it I could get is just Ready, Steady, Go. Like, let's go do it. That's kind of what I was getting from which, like, I think that's all it is. If it's not, let me know in the comments. I don't think it's much deeper than that, but it doesn't have to be, right? This is one of those songs where it is vibey and it's supposed to be vibey, and I appreciate that. Whereas like American Girls to me is kind of giving like, it's vibey, but it feels like it was meant to be more than that, but I'm not getting more than that. So Ready, Steady, Go. I think I'm also, I'm on the fence. I'm going to put it in Watermelon Sugar, but I'm going to put it ahead of the other two because I do return to it more than Aperture or American Girls. Okay, I think Are You Listening Yet actually is going to be my first fine line. I really, really like this song. This is the perfect mix of the production sticking out in a similar way to Ready, Steady, Go, but also the lyrics are, they do catch me in a certain way. I really like the repetition at the end of Are You Listening Yet? Now you're out of choices. Are you listening yet? Like, it is stressed out. It almost is emblematic of like a panic attack in a way. I think it's just really well describing the feeling of running out of time, of feeling like you're pulling your head out of the sand and being like, holy moly, like, where am I? What's going on? And I think everyone can relate to that feeling of like feeling you just got slapped in the face by reality and like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? What is my life right now? And I think we pair that with an absolutely expert instrumental. I mean, I cannot get over the solo in this song going into the last chorus. So good. I mean, this is the kind of song I listen to in the gym. I listen to on my walks. I'm listening to it. I'm streaming it. It's just a really good pop song. And yeah, like I said, I'm returning to it a lot. I think the lyricism's really great, and I do think it plays into the theming of the album. You know, when we're talking about a coming of age, I do think part of coming of age is that moment that, and you might have multiple of them, but that moment where you're like, holy crap, like, what is going on in my life? Like, are you listening yet? Has it clocked to you yet? What is happening right now? What you need to do, what you've been doing, like, however that might apply to you. And once again, like, the vague lyricism I do think works in Harry's favor in this way because he's not being super specific. And I think that's a good decision because this could apply to, you know, any sort of life experience, whether it be your job, your relationship, your friendships, any of these things where you're like, are you listening yet? Have I been listening? Have I, like, what is going on right now? And I just think it's really well done. And the production really suits the song theme, which really suits the album theme. And I don't think there's another song on this album that really captures the same feeling. So for that reason, we've got Fine Line, first song in this tier. We've got Are You Listening Yet? Chef's Kiss. Taste Back. I thought I was only going to have one in Fine Line. But I'm looking at these last couple songs and I'm like, I'm going to get emotional. I'm gonna get sad. Taste Back is really special to me. I'm gonna put her in Fine Line. I think this song, I'm like looking at it next to Are You Listening Yet? And it's almost like complimenting it. Like, I feel like Are You Listening Yet is the song before the ultimate crash out. And Taste Back is almost like after the rock bottom hits and after you're at your lowest. And first of all, the sparkling intro production is really beautiful. Now, not all of the lyrics pair up with this, but I do just love the vibe. Like, must be lonely out in Paris if you talk like that. Period. I don't know who he's talking to. No idea. No idea. I'm not in Paris. Um, but we're getting a little bit more specific lyricism from Harry here. Also, sorry, I keep playing with my hair. I feel like she's really greasy and not looking her best, but we persevere. um, I have just really been reading this song as re-emerging as a version of yourself you haven't seen in a while. And I think, once again, it's a very relatable spirit of maybe there's a version of yourself that suddenly some change in life has forced you to reconnect with and force you to accept, or force you to reflect and analyze, like, am I doing what I want to be doing? Am I who I want to be right now? And kind of reclaiming that. And, maybe it's getting rid of something in your life. Like, maybe it's not coming back to that version of yourself, but getting rid of toxic parts of your life. And it's so happy. And I love the instrumental on this one. It does give, like, As It Was vibes, but I think I like it a little bit more than As It Was. So we're going to put her in Fine Line. I think it's been a really special song to me recently. And this is my tier list, so I'm going to actually do whatever I want. The Waiting Game. The Waiting Game makes me really sad. The Waiting Game, maybe The Waiting Game is like that in-between period of Are You Listening Yet and Taste Back, playing The Waiting Game. I think this song kind of speaks for itself. I do think it's quite explicit in what it's talking about and how in life sometimes we can unintentionally be waiting for things, and we can unintentionally be avoiding opportunities because in our mind we are waiting for something else and we haven't even accepted that that's what's going on, right? Whether it's, again, like, applicable to any situations. Obviously he's kind of talking about some sort of situationship here, but just that feeling of, why am I not taking certain opportunities? It's almost giving Green Light by Tate McRae here, of like, I'm sitting at the green light but I can't go. I love that song. I love Tate McRae. Sorry, I just love Tate McRae. I think I'm gonna put it in As It Was, because it's not one that I've been streaming a ton. I really do see it moving up for me later on, but this is an album that I think is gonna really grow on me. So we're gonna put her there. Season 2 Weight Loss, ironically, is one that I really thought I was going to enjoy, as someone who finds public perception of body image to be a very fascinating and upsetting topic, right? And I think it's so relevant right now. Despite that, I haven't been returning to it that much. I think the lyricism is a little bit repetitive, and the production isn't that interesting. So with that combination, it hasn't been the most interesting song to me. I think the theme it is conveying of, are you going to accept me the way that I am now, or do I need to go back to how I was, is kind of represented with other songs in this album. Could this potentially grow on me in the future? 1000%. And I don't want to yuck your yum if this is your song, which I have a lot of friends who have been really liking this song, period. For now, I'm going to put it in she tier because I really haven't been listening to it. Okay, so this is the one song that I don't know if I can talk about that much because it will make me extremely emotional. Coming Up Roses, Harry described as an album talking about how something can be perfect in your life and not be forever and be momentary. And that is not something I've heard represented in music recently. And I think that is a really, really, really hard pill to swallow, that you can have a perfect scenario. Again, whether it be your job, maybe you're graduating from school, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a friendship or a family relationship or even a pet. Like, I think it's applicable to so many areas of life. And so I'm a sucker for orchestra. I play the cello. And so I really love the orchestral arrangement and how it starts with like this like light strings And how he's almost describing like something that's falling apart a little bit, but for tonight it's just me and you. It's only me and you, and it's just this really, really beautiful sentiment um of something that is perfect for a certain period of your life, and having to accept that it's not perfect for the rest of your life and it's not good for you anymore. And gosh, Harry, you absolute genius, mouth kissy. I'm obsessed with you. I can't listen to this song. I cannot express this to you guys enough. I can't listen to this song. This is probably my favorite song in the album, and I don't listen to it because it fully has me ugly crying in tears. It's not okay. It's bad. So, Coming Up Roses, you astound me every time, you beautiful diva. Okay, Pop. Moving on. I like Pop. She's a cute girl, but I'm looking at my last two and they feel kind of similar. Dance No More is so disco, and I think Pop is a little bit disco, but honestly, if I'm going to speak my truth, I think Pop is okay. I think Dance No More is better. I think Harry's really in his disco dancey bag with Dance No More. I love the bass on this song. The beat is really great, and it feels like the best representation of disco, which with the name of the album, of course, we're looking for, versus Pop. I do really like how it's a little more melodic and less staccato, but it's just not as good to me. I feel really good about this ranking. I think Paint by Numbers and Season 2 Weight Loss are songs that I could 100% see being my favorites later on, maybe in like a year, because this does really feel like an album that in a year, this ranking will be completely different. So I'm okay with those being in She category, because similar to She, I am not mad if it comes on at a grocery store. I'm not mad if it comes on wherever I am, but I'm probably not streaming very much. Watermelon Sugar, these are the songs that like they're gonna come on the club, they're gonna come on at my pregame playlist, and I'm loving them, but I'm probably not returning to them and really thinking about them. They're not earworms to me. As It Was are songs that I'm hoping are gonna be playlist staples for years. Obviously there's for specific themes, but I'm really enjoying those songs. I don't know if The Waiting Game is going to be on a ton of my playlist because she's sad and she makes me upset. Fine Line are songs that are going to be on a lot of playlists. These are going to be on tons and tons and tons of my playlists. Are You Listening Yet and Taste Back? I see those as kind of timeless classics for me for a while. And I see Coming Up Roses as a song that will continue to destroy me and make me think of certain points in my life for the rest of my life. But please let me know in the comments what you guys think of the album. I'd love to hear your hot takes. Destroy my track ranking if you want to. And yeah, how do you guys feel about what Harry Styles has said about this album? How do you feel about it compared to other albums? What other songs have you guys been into? The new Ray album is something I definitely want to dive into on the channel. But really appreciate everyone who's watched. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like. Subscribe if you feel like it, and I will see you guys in the next video.